Meta has finally released their much awaited Llama 4 series of models. So there are three models in this collection. The smallest Scout model with 10 million context length, the medium-sized Maverick, and the largest Behemoth, which is yet to be released. Today we'll be looking at Maverick, a model with 17 billion active parameters, with 128 experts, which comes to 400 billion total parameters. According to Meta, the Maverick model beats GPT-4o and Gemini 2.0 in coding and reasoning, and it's competitive to Deepseek version 3.1. So that's a big claim, guys, because Deepseek version 3.1, that is Deepseek 0324, performed surprisingly well in our previous test. So how does Maverick compare to Deepseek? Let's find out. So I have plotted a comparative graph between Deepseek and Maverick. You can see when it comes to coding and massive multitask language understanding, that is MMLU, it is slightly behind. But when it comes to GPQA Diamond benchmark, it is slightly ahead. So according to benchmarks, it seems to be a model with equal performance to DeepSeek at half the number of active parameters. If we look at the pricing, the model is priced at $0.2 per million input tokens and $0.6 per million output tokens, compared to DeepSeek's pricing of $0.27 per million input tokens and $1.1 per million output tokens. So DeepSeek is 1.7 times more expensive, which is not that much. So is Maverick a better, cheaper alternative to DeepSeek? Let's find out. Let's get into the coding, reasoning and max sections. Starting off with the coding section. I asked them to code a complex website, that is, generate a complete website about the solar system and its 8 planets. Starting off with DeepSeek, I send the question to the model. You can see it goes and writes all the files, and I think it's done generation. Let's have a look. Okay, that looks awesome. You can see it generates the solar system with the orbits, and at the bottom you can see links for all planets. Let's try to click one. Okay, that doesn't open it. The links are not working, guys. So let's share this with the model that the links are not working. Okay, it seems it's done. Let's see. Okay, we have the same page and let's try to open the links. And they open. Nice. We can see the planet and a bit of info about it below. That's Venus. And that's the Earth. I think the model tried to make the moon, but that didn't go that well. And all the other planets, they seem good enough, having something here and there. But it's kind of an okay response. Nice. Now it's time for Maverick to show what it has got. Let's send the question to Maverick. And you can see it goes and makes the files. It seems it's done. I don't think it made all pages, but let's see. Okay, that looks very basic. Let's see if the links work. Okay, they don't work, guys. Let's give this feedback to the model. One thing I noticed, the model is doing a lot of back and forth. I've seen it writing and rewriting files 3 to 4 times for each planet, and it ended up costing more than DeepSeek. Actually, it didn't end by itself. It was doing things in a loop, creating files which were already present. That is a very bad response from Maverick. I didn't expect that. So I manually stopped it. I asked it to just check if all files exist and then start the web page. Even then it could not start the web page, guys. So I started a new chat window and finally it was able to start the page. And this is what it has generated. That is very ugly, guys. Let's see if the planet links work. Okay, they do. But the information is very limited and the animation is also very basic. For other planets, there is no information at all. So clearly, DeepSeek is far superior and Maverick has given a pathetic performance. Let's see if that changes with other coding questions. First, let's ask them to code a dragon in a web page. Let's first look at DeepSeek, what it has come up with. Okay, that looks like a dragon. Also, it has eyes, horns, wings, also a moon. Awesome. Now let's look at Maverick's response. Okay, that looks pretty basic. Not that good. Let's ask both models to make it significantly better. Let's look at what DeepSeek has come up with. Okay, that looks awesome, guys. Absolutely phenomenal. I'm happy with DeepSeek. Let's look at Maverick next. Okay, that is better, but still pretty basic. Now if we compare, we can say DeepSeek response was clearly at another level. Next up, we asked them to give us the best implementation of the Super Mario game. Let's look at DeepSeek. Okay, that looks good, but it seems to be inverted, isn't it? This is a serious blunder. But the aesthetics and animals are all nice. Let's look at Maverick. Okay, that is a very basic response. I mean, like, I'm hardly able to move the character. So if we compare clearly, even though DeepSeek gave us an inverted game, DeepSeek was better. There is no doubt about it. So next up, create a JavaScript animation of falling letters. Let's look at DeepSeek. Okay, we see the bouncing ball, but instead of letters, we see cubes. It's clear that it was not able to fetch the letters, but the animation and graphics look great. Let's look at Maverick. We see balls, falling letters, and the animation and graphics are all right. Absolutely awesome. So if we compare the results, since Maverick was able to fetch the letters, it's clear. It's the winner and for the first time. Next up, animate a hollow circle with bouncing balls. Let's look at DeepSeek response. Okay, that is a hollow circle with bouncing balls. Also, the opening is clearly mentioned. It also has a counter to show the balls. That's a perfect response. So let's look at what Maverick has come up with. We clearly see that it has provided a very big opening, almost equal to the circle. That is not what we meant. It clearly misunderstood us. So if we now compare, I would say Deepseek is significantly better, without a doubt. Next up, simulate a rotating Earth. Let's see what the models do. Starting off with Deepseek. I tried multiple times, but every single time I got an error. The model was simply not able to generate a response, guys. So that's a clear fail. Let's move on to Maverick. In one go, Maverick was able to do that. Although I would say that doesn't look like Earth, but it's at least something, which is better than giving us a error, right? So that's a point for Maverick. Now let's ask them a hard question. Let's ask them to make a pinball game in Python and see what they come up with. First look at Deepseek's response. Okay, that looks awesome. Although I would say it's not playable and we are not able to move the ball. So not a very good response. Now let's look at Maverick. Okay, that is a very basic game. We see nothing other than the three balls, flap and a ball. Clearly, that is a very pathetic response from Maverick. So if we compare, we can say both were not able to provide a working code because of course it's a hard question, but comparatively Deepseek response was better. Now let's ask them to give a state-of-the-art Pac-Man game in Python. Starting off with Deepseek, clearly it was not able to give me a working response in one go, but eventually it came up with this. It looks pretty awesome to say the least. Absolutely awesome. Next up, let's see what Maverick has come up with. As you guys can see, it is good enough, but we are not able to distinguish the Pac-Man and the Ghost. Also, it's weirdly very fast. So comparatively, I would say Deepseek is better, and this point goes to Deepseek. Now, if we look at the coding performance, clearly, in the solar system question, Deepseek was better. In the dragon question, again Deepseek was better. In the Mario question, Deepseek was better. In the falling letters question, interestingly, Maverick was better. Next up, bouncing balls, again Deepseek was better. And rotating Earth, Maverick was better in this one. In the pinball question, again Deepseek was better. And in the Pac-Man question, Deepseek was better. So that is 6 points for Deepseek and just 2 points for Maverick. It's clear Deepseek is miles better than Maverick when it comes to coding, while costing just a little more. But will that change in the reasoning section? Let's see. So I asked a series of questions and 10 times. Let's see their comparative performance. You can pause and have a look at the questions. The first is the water tank question, and Deepseek scores 6 out of 10. Maverick scores just 5 out of 10. Next, the letters question. Deepseek scores 8 out of 10 and Maverick scores 3 out of 10. Next is connect the dots question, where the models have to find the underlying word by connecting the dots. In this question, Deepseek scores 4 out of 10 and Maverick scores just 2 out of 10. Next up is the grids question. The diagrammatic representation is visible to you. In this question, Deepseek scores 7 out of 10, whereas Maverick scores a 0 out of 10. Next up is the seating arrangement question, and both models score 0 because it's a hard question. Finally, 64 tennis player question, same. Both models score 0. So if you look at the totals, that is 25 out of 40 for Deepseek and 10 out of 40 for Maverick. That is a miserable performance from Maverick. Saying that it's on par with Deepseek, it's truly false. Next up is the max section. Will things change? Well, I don't think so, because Deepseek is a champion in this section. In the first max question, you can see Deepseek scores a whopping 9 out of 10 and Maverick scores 0 out of 10. Next up is the earnings question. Deepseek scores 3 out of 10 and Maverick again scores 0. Next up, shaded circle. Deepseek scores 10 out of 10 and surprisingly Maverick scores 10 out of 10 as well, which is fascinating to see. Next up, hard geometry question. It's tough. You can see Deepseek scored just 1 out of 10 and Maverick again scores 0. So that is 23 out of 40 for Deepseek and a mere 10 out of 40 for Maverick. That too because of just one question. So even in max, Maverick is behind. So the claims that Maverick is Deepseek version 3.1 level model are false. The model is significantly behind, even though benchmarks don't show the difference. We know the actual difference in performance is quite large, and I think that's why reviews like this help to cut the crap. I hope I was able to give you guys a decent review of both models. If you like the content, do hit the like button, that really helps the channel. If you are a returning viewer, why not subscribe and join the community? So that's it for today guys. I'll catch you guys in the next one.